Hello, I'm Catalina Gillies, and welcome to this week's edition of Northwest Newsweek. Investigators were on the scene of a fatal plane crash that occurred at the Thunder Bay Airport Monday. The lone occupant of the plane bound for Dryden, the pilot, was pronounced dead at the scene. As a result, several flights had to be canceled as emergency crews converged on the runway, and a few more flights were disrupted on Tuesday. William Dougal reports.
Just after 9 o'clock Monday night, residents around the Thunder Bay Airport heard a loud bang and were able to see flames and thick smoke on the tarmac. The plane was a Rockwell Commander 690B, owned by MAG Aerospace, similar to this one. It had just taken off and was bound for Dryden, where it's used as a bird dog for battling forest fires. Spokesperson for the Transportation Safety Board, Chris Krepsky, outlines what happened.
There was a Rockwell Commander 690B operated by MAG Aero that departed from Thunder Bay, Ontario on a flight to Dryden, Ontario. The aircraft departed on runway 12 at Thunder Bay. While returning to land on runway 07 at Thunder Bay, the aircraft lost control and struck the runway surface.
Soon after the crash occurred Monday night, emergency crews rushed to the scene and put out the fire. The pilot, who has not yet been identified, was confirmed dead soon afterwards. TSB investigators from Winnipeg arrived Tuesday afternoon and will be conducting a very thorough probe of the crash scene and what's left of the aircraft.
They're going to examine the aircraft records, survey the area where the occurrence took place. They'll also be looking to interview any witnesses to the occurrence, gather some more information about communications with air traffic control, what the weather would have been like at the time. And they'll also, when they're looking at the records of the aircraft, look at if there's any components that we want to take a closer look at the engineering lab in Ottawa.
Smaller planes were back moving again on the airport tarmac on Tuesday morning, but it appears at least one of the runways is closed due to the location of the crash scene. Flights involving larger aircraft were being delayed or canceled as passengers scrambled to rebook or switch to smaller airlines for their travel. Officials from the airport and MAG Aerospace have declined to comment on the fatal crash. William Dougal, TBT News.
The race is on to elect the 44th Parliament following last Sunday's surprise, not-so-surprise election call by Justin Trudeau. And candidates in the Kenora riding are already knocking on doors and meeting with residents, all dealing with this while going through the pandemic. Adam Riley has details.
Things have definitely changed for Kenora Conservative candidate Eric Melillo since his 2019 win, as he is now in the role of incumbent. Although he believes this is an unnecessary election, he hopes to use this as an opportunity to do more than defend his record.
I think the basics are the same. We're still trying to get to as many doors as we can to meet people and hear their concerns and share our vision, share our recovery plan. But of course, not just bringing forward ideas or discussing the Liberal government's failure over the last 2 years, but I'm also able to talk about the advocacy work that I've done over the past 2 years.
Just like his predecessor, who he defeated in 2019, Melillo is taking on a slate of new challengers, including recently acclaimed Liberal candidate and cybersecurity expert David Bruno. But unlike Melillo, Bruno believes the decision by Justin Trudeau to call an election was warranted.
Especially when it's a minority government, especially having gone through the last 2 years with the obstruction of the opposition parties, there was no doubt in my mind that this was a call that was necessary to take back to the people. This is a democracy that works. We are one of the most privileged nations on the planet where we're able to take these questions to the people.
The NDP finished third in 2019, but Janine Seymour, a lawyer from Wishishkaniggum First Nation, is looking to change that. She says her party's national platform cites housing and mental health as to how to tackle the inequities faced by many in the Kenora district.
I'm excited that the national platform and it's getting the coverage for this territory. So that's one aspect. The NDP is the only party to have a national and universal healthcare plan put forward. I think we're coming out of a pandemic. Like, these are the priorities. I do want to have that time and that space, though, to listen to all the constituents.
Finally, rounding out the list of confirmed candidates is the Green Party's Remy Raut, a businessman engaged in green technologies. He hopes to capitalize on the gains made by the Greens in 2019 and that the grassroots nature of his party will separate him from his opponents.
We are not top down, we are bottom up. So each constituency, each Green member that gets into that house has a freedom of vote, has a voice for the people within their constituencies. We are here to work for the constituents, not really for the party.
Adam Riley, TBT News.
Federal election campaigns continue in other ridings in the Northwest. Despite the sudden announcement, the Thunder Bay Superior North candidates are ready to present their parties and personal platforms to the electorate. William Dougal has that story.
Two-term MP and Health Minister Patty Heidi was facing 4 declared challengers for her seat in Thunder Bay Superior North. She says she is always ready for an election and hopes everything she has accomplished will get her re-elected for a 3rd term.
Listen, first of all, it's been an incredible honor to be the Member of Parliament for the past 6 years for Thunder Bay Superior North, and we've been able to achieve so much together, despite the fact that the last 2 of those years we've been living through a global pandemic. We've brought a lot of investment to the Northern Ontario region.
Haidu's NDP challenger Chantal Bryson says that she wants to make big changes that do not depend on tax hikes against everyday working-class people.
I really want to see the economic and social recovery not rest on the backs of small business and families and workers. We're going to rest the economic and social recovery on the ultra-rich with a 1% tax on anyone with over $10 million in wealth.
First-time Conservative candidate Joshua Taylor says that because of the drastic age difference between himself and the other candidates, he can help bring a voice to the voiceless in Ottawa.
I feel like I appeal to a different demographic, and I think I can get youth heard in this upcoming election, but also I'm from the rural community of Geraldton, and I feel like typically we haven't had our voices heard. So I think I can represent both youth and the rural population on top of typical conservatism.
Green Party candidate Amanda Motajong says that while the current pandemic is no time for an election, it is time to start providing for the people.
The people in Canada really do not want an election at this time, especially as we're going into a 4th wave of COVID. My goal in this is to bring attention to a lot of the people that have been left behind for the last year and a half with all of this, much like the people of Afghanistan were left behind on the tarmac yesterday as they were trying to flee Afghanistan as the Prime Minister was calling this election.
People's Party of Canada candidate Rick Daines, who lives in Geraldton, says he believes everyone needs to get involved to affect change, and his part is running as candidate for the PPC. William Dougal, TBT News.
Like the campaign in Kenora, the Thunder Bay Rainy River incumbent has been on the job for less than 2 years. But unlike Kenora, there is one returning opponent, along with a field of newcomers looking to unseat Liberal Marcus Palladium. Corey Nordstrom reports.
Looking to once again be named the Member of Parliament for Thunder Bay Rainy River is Marcus Palladium. After tallying over 14,000 votes in 2019, the incumbent says he is ready for a re-election campaign, even if he prefers the job itself to the campaign trail.
I'm a far better MP than I am a politician. I enjoy doing the constituency work. I enjoy representing the interests of the people of Thunder Bay. I enjoy doing national stuff. I mean, occasionally even international stuff.
2 years ago, the Conservatives had the second most votes in the riding, but a different name in Adelina Pecchio will be on the ballot this time around, and a new leader of the party with Erin O'Toole at the helm.
Conservative Party is ready. It's the same in the sense that we are dedicated. We're a dedicated people. We're a dedicated leader. We have dedicated leadership. So we are always dedicated to serving Canadians.
Yuksem Wan is the lone repeat name on the ballot aside from the incumbent. She believes that the NDP can regain control of the riding for the first time since 2014.
When I ran in 2019, we were so close in our riding, and then we've just been building the momentum on that. The NDP federally have done a wonderful job at making sure throughout the pandemic, throughout the 2 years, that the people are represented and taken care of.
The Green Party's Tracy McKinnon says her focus lies on a number of hot-button issues.
The residential school children that have been found and will be found and continue to be found, and all those that won't be found, I think that's hugely important. Of course, climate, the way our Canada is on fire lately with all the forest fires.
Maxime Bernier's People's Party of Canada is entering its second election since formation, with Nipigon's Alan Abbott taking up their mantle in Thunder Bay Rainy River.
Canada is naturally a centrist, and the only centrist party is the People's Party. They call themselves, or some of them, like Maxime Bernier says he's conservative, but there's no conservative really in Canada. Never was, or not for a long time.
Corey Nordstrom, TVT News.
Earlier this year, the province announced its picks for various natural gas expansion programs. And unfortunately, Lakeshore Gas, the natural gas distribution company made up of 5 communities, didn't make the cut. While disappointed, the company's president is not giving up on hopes to bring natural gas service to the North Shore. Adam Riley has more.
It's been in the works for 6 years and is estimated to bring hundreds of construction jobs to the North Shore. And despite positive developments in April, hopes were dashed in June when the province announced Lakeshore Natural Gas's $30 million funding request to bring natural gas service to Schreiber, Terrace Bay, Marathon, Manitowage, and Wawa was not included in a list of 43 projects getting the go-ahead. LSNG President Daryl Skwarczynski says in a debrief with the then Ministry of Energy, Northern Development and Mines, the province told the company other projects ranked higher, something he disagrees with.
I'm not sure that's necessarily the case. We felt we had a very strong application. We've obviously had a phase 1 approval from the Ontario Energy Board. We did sign a gas supply contract with Certarus based out of Red Rock, which was a great solution for the North Shore as well.
Skwarczynski feels the project still does warrant government assistance, adding that it is not only a good energy solution, but also an economic driver for the region. He believes, however, they may need to rethink their strategy when applying for funding again.
We don't think $30 million, when you look at really the criticality of the project as well as the innovation it's going to bring to the north, is too much. This is certainly something we see as transferable for those communities that can't have pipeline, including First Nations. So, we're thinking if we can structure it in a way that, it's still $30 million, but maybe it's $10 million over 3 years, that's something that the government will take back, and we can continue discussions on that going forward.
Skwarczynski, who also serves as the Chief Administrative Officer for the Township of Marathon, was at the Association of Municipalities of Ontario virtual conference earlier this month. It was there in his capacity as president of Lakeshore Natural Gas, where he was able to speak with recently minted Energy Minister Todd Smith regarding the future of the project. Adam Riley, TBT News.
And when we come back, a company leading the charge for a proposed palladium mine near Marathon provides an update and hot dogs at a meet and greet. Work continues on a proposed palladium mine north of Marathon, and this week representatives of Generation PGM took advantage of good weather and lightened COVID-19 restrictions to update the public. The project has the potential to kick off from the already established mining presence in the Marathon area, all while providing the country a secure source of rare and highly sought-after metal. Mitchell Ringos has more.
A small barbecue served as a backdrop for Marathon area residents to see where planning, surveys, and applications for the mine, which in addition to the palladium will also produce platinum and copper, currently stand and what benefits the town could experience should it go ahead.
One major driving benefit is the economics. We're looking at 1,200 construction jobs with 300 permanent jobs over a 13-year mine life.
Palladium has many uses, including catalytic converters, groundwater treatment, and electronics. Those plus many more applications make it a strategic metal in Canada, and fortunately, the Thunder Bay District is a known source.
Really, palladium only comes from two main places. It's Russia and South Africa. Lac des Îles and Montana and these other places are very small. So really what we're doing is giving an opportunity to Canada to have a continuous source of these much needed metals.
At the beginning of the 2020, PGM published its feasibility study on the project and is currently in the midst of an environmental assessment, which McBride hopes will be approved in 2022. He notes if various other permits and financing that need to be finalized take form, the Marathon area should see more activity related to the project over the next 18 to 24 months. Mitchell Ringos, TBT News.
Firefighting crews continue to battle numerous blazes in northwestern Ontario, but the tally has now fallen to double digits. As of noon Friday, there were 99 active fires in the region. The fire hazard remains high to extreme in southern portions of the region, including the Fort Frances, Kenora, Dryden, and Thunder Bay districts. As for northern regions such as Red Lake and Wabaseemoong, where some of the most intense infernos continue to burn, relief appears to be on the horizon. Significant rain is due to arrive this weekend, something the area hasn't seen in some time.
A lot of fire and a lot of fire potential out there on the landscape as this extended period of fire escalation continues. And a good soaking of rain is really something we haven't seen in any widespread way. And the potential for some real help from the weather exists over in the region over the next few days.
To date, the forest fire tally for this year in northwestern Ontario stands at 953, with over 712,000 total hectares burned, nearly 4.5 times the 10-year average. As a result of the intense fires burning, public access to the interior of Quetico Provincial Park is now being restricted. An announcement posted to the social media pages for the Wilderness Park says the backcountry is closed to all travel and camping. However, the Dawson Trail campground is still open. The message pointed to increased forest fire activity and the impact of smoke. According to information posted online by the MNFR's firefighting agency, 9 blazes are burning in the south-central portion of Quetico. The forest fire hazard is extreme in the western half of the park and high in the eastern half. Meanwhile, the province reported only 2 new fires in the northwest region on Friday, leaving just 98 active fires. However, 13 of those are not under control. Health authorities are warning Thunder Bay residents about a steep increase in the risk of Lyme disease from black-legged ticks this summer. Ian Kaufman reports.
Nearly 63% of black-legged ticks collected through active tracking by the Thunder Bay District Health Unit this year have tested positive for the Lyme disease bacteria. While that's based on just 8 tick finds, vector-borne disease coordinator Ken Beacon says the results represent a worrying jump from previous years.
Oh, I was shocked. We've run maybe a high of 10% of the ticks through the course of the season being positive for Lyme disease, but to have 62.5% of the ticks testing positive, that was pretty startling.
All of the finds were from Rabbit Mountain, which Deacon called a local tick hotspot. The health unit urges the public to avoid long grasses and overgrown areas, wear pants tucked into socks, and do a thorough tick check after time outdoors. Those are precautions local residents may have to get used to. The prevalence of ticks is likely to increase due to climate change, said Deacon.
The winters have become increasingly mild, and it's the winter temperature that kills the ticks. So as the climate changes, it means that you're going to see more ticks established in more locations. And it's one of those unfortunate consequences of climate change.
Black-legged ticks remain rare in the Thunder Bay area, Deacon said. Most local ticks are wood ticks, which don't transmit Lyme disease. Residents who find a tick on themselves or their pet can submit it for identification here at the Health Unit's Balmoral Street headquarters. Ian Kaufman, TBT News.
Coming up after the break, sightings of little green men along the North Shore increase. Aliens have landed on the North Shore. Well, sort of. A rainy day activity 5 years ago by a Terrace Bay resident has turned itself into a bit of a fun game of hide and seek using little wooden aliens that appear to be observing us. Adam Riley has the details of this close encounter.
If you take a walk through a neighborhood in Terrace Bay or Schreiber, you might see little green men. And no, you aren't hallucinating. You are seeing little green men.
Had nothing to do one day, so we decided to cut out some aliens and went and got some green paint and painted them and gave them names and handed them out to my family.
But eventually other residents took notice, and soon Terry Bell was making aliens on demand and throwing a little fun into the mix.
And I used to put, I don't know, them out on the lawn, and then people would come and say, well, I want an alien to give to such and such for a birthday. And I started making them and hiding them in people's backyards, and when they came outside, they'd see the alien and I get a phone call, and it was all having a joke.
Over the last 5 years, the popularity of northern aliens has expanded beyond the North Shore region, and Bell has been getting requests through his Facebook page, Northern Aliens, for aliens, who have been photographed in all sorts of places, engaged in various activities, or supporting various causes and sports teams.
People have my aliens that have been to Roswell and looked at an alien that, you know, in the museum and that. And they say that mine sort of looks like that one.
Bell says he doesn't know when or if the popularity of northern aliens will fade. All he knows is that he will keep getting a kick out of where they will appear next.
It makes me feel pretty good, actually. And knowing that I'm making somebody smile and have a laugh. We certainly all need a laugh once in a while. And we'll have to do it until, as long as there's a good laugh and a good smile, we're going to keep on doing it.
Adam Riley, TBT News.
The construction of a new Tim Hortons and Marathon is a good start for further development, according to the town's mayor. Earlier this month, it was confirmed that a Tim Hortons was being built on the former DH Foods Mall property along Peninsula Road. In 2018, the mall was seized by the town due to nearly $500,000 in back taxes being owed to the municipality, and last year the property was declared surplus. Some buyers had approached the town to take over the building as is, but nothing ever transpired. Eventually, the town had the mall demolished to allow for the land to be redeveloped. Marathon Mayor Rick Dumas is hopeful more businesses will develop a presence on the property once the Tim Hortons is built.
So there's going to be a fair chunk, about almost close to 2 more acres, roughly, a little under 2 acres of available space between the arena and the new Tim Hortons that are being built. So yeah, we're looking at all prospects, and anybody out there in the listening world is interested in developing something Marathon. There's opportunities galore, and you can reach out and talk to our Economic Development Corporation, to our Economic Development Manager.
Dumas says Marathon has been doing very well as of late economically, with multiple projects including the East-West Tie, which has 300 Vallard workers currently living and working in the community, and a proposed palladium mine in the works. And that wraps up today's edition of Northwest Newsweek. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.